Ain't nothing better than watching you smile. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ain't nothing better than watching you laugh out loud, my baby. Ain't nothing better than watching you be you. Ain't nothing better than right now. In your eyes lie the secrets I don't wanna miss. Put your hand in.
Hi, this is Trey Passer, and this is my movie review with minor spoilers of The Lone Ranger. I saw it tonight. Here's my ticket stub. There you go, I think you can see that. Then there's The Lone Ranger. There it is. Saw it tonight. For those who've seen the trailer and those who haven't, basically, it's just the story of how John Reed, who was a lawyer in this movie, how he becomes eventually he gets deputized to be a Texas Ranger, and how he became the Lone Ranger, and it's just told basically through the eyes of Native American warrior Tonto, played by Johnny Depp, and the Lone Ranger is played by Armie Hammer. In this movie, it also stars William Fichtner, Tom Wilkinson, what's the lady's name? I'm sorry, Ruth Wilson, and Helena Bonham Carter. Now, basically, the movie begins with John Reed, coming to town to, where his brother's a Texas Ranger, and basically if you've seen the trailer, and if you've seen the Lone Ranger TV show, you know the basic story of how, the Rangers get ambushed, okay, and then he's the only one that survives. You see that in the trailer, so that's clearly what's evident in the trailer, and and he gets rescued by Tonto, and basically he sets out on a quest to bring the bad guy, Butch Cavendish in this case, played by William Fichtner, to justice. Now, first, let me say, I was looking forward to seeing this movie, from seeing the trailers and stuff, but this movie is more of a it has its serious moments, but it's more comedy, like in the tradition of the Pirates movie, which makes sense since it's directed by Gore, what's his name, Gore Verbinski, since he directed the Pirates movie. So this kind of makes sense that he would bring that side of spirit. And now let me tell you the problems I have with the movie first before I tell you what I liked about it and give you the rating. Okay, what I didn't like about the movie is the script, because I think the script was just so predictable, and like Butch Cavendish is the villain in the movie, but there's another villain in the movie. That's a minor spoiler. Okay, and as soon as that character appeared on screen, you instantly knew that was the other villain in the movie. Okay, that was, like I said, totally predictable. Okay, and another thing I didn't like, I know the Lone Ranger, and maybe they did it, like I said, because they made this movie more like in a tradition, more slapstick in it. Basically John Reed, he's like the bumbling, idiot, doesn't believe in guns and stuff, and of course he gets a transformation after he gets shot and brought back but he's, even after that happens to him, he still basically acts like a puss to me, like a big wuss. Okay, and it's only towards the later part of the movie that I think that he actually, becomes kind of like the character that you expect. And I thought that was kind of weak sauce. I thought that, it had nothing to do with Armie Hammer. It's just the way that they wrote the character, which I didn't like. Okay, and as far as Armie Hammer is concerned, I thought he was decent with what they gave him to do. Okay, and I'm telling you what else. The movie is long, but that didn't bother me. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I liked about it. What I liked about it is that humor that was in it. It's like I said, it's sort of like the Pirates movie, that you have these big, I guess, action pieces. Like there's one in the beginning of the movie, and then there's one towards the middle, I think, and then there's one towards the end. Okay, and those things I actually like. Those things were done quite well. A lot of slapstick stuff with Johnny Depp in Armie Hammer, Tonto and the Lone Ranger, and I didn't mind that. I thought that was actually probably one of the bright spots. And what I love Johnny Depp as Tonto. I know a lot of people had a problem with him being chosen because he's not, he's not an American Indian. But if he wasn't in the movie wouldn't be half as good as it was. Okay, Johnny. I know people say, oh well, he's just playing. What's the I can't remember what the character's name is. He's just playing Captain Jack. Oh yeah, that's Captain Jack Sparrow, just as an Indian. Okay, but he does have some funny one-liners in this. Johnny Depp, like I said, he makes this movie. Okay, he's just absolutely hilarious, and then serious when he has to be and stuff. And I like Johnny Depp in this movie. This movie wouldn't be half as good as it was if Johnny Depp wasn't in it. Okay, and the character of Tonto. I mean, just the way they had him acting and stuff was just hilarious to me, and it cracked people up around me, cracked me up, and it kept me entertained whenever he was on screen. He was just an entertaining character in the movie. Okay, and what else? I like William Fichtner as Butch Cavendish. I thought he was good. Well, William Fichtner is a good Fichtner. He also played the bank manager in The Dark Knight. He's a really good character actor, and he was in Drive Angry too. He was like the devil that came to collect what's called soul, Nicolas Cage's soul. He's a real good actor anyway, so of course he's good. And also you have Tom Wilkinson in this, of course, and he always gives you a good performance. I felt Ruth Wilson was kind of wasted, even though she's like the sort of the love interest. Okay, even though she's, it's kind of complicated the way they explain it. Well, it's not complicated, but she's like basically she's married to John Reed's brother. Okay, even though you can tell that he had a thing for her, or they had a thing before, and then she married his brother. And I don't know, just her part was like more damsel in distress. Okay, and everybody after her, and more damsel in distress. Okay, and Helena Bonham Carter was she had a little small part. Her part was small and stuff, and she was okay. Her part was just a little small part. And I'm trying to think who else. I covered Johnny Depp. Like I said, Armie Hammer was decent, but I thought his character was made to be too much of a wuss. I know they had to, to try to show you the transition from him being this guy who didn't believe in guns and stuff, to this Lone Ranger character. But to me, it was just too much of the movie. He spent too much of the movie being a puss. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of the TV show. I loved the Lone Ranger growing up. Used to watch it all the time. It was on TV. Just loved that whole Lone Ranger story. Okay, so I didn't like the way they wrote his character. I know they had to show that transition from being, like I said, this man of law to the legendary but I thought it just, I don't know, for me it just, I don't know, just that transition between that, I mean, it just all of a sudden it seemed to me like as soon as they I guess, well, I don't want to spoil it, but towards the end of the movie, I guess that's when he finally made the transition to me, and it wasn't, I mean, he just spent too much of the movie being a wuss. Okay, which is, it was, like I said, it wasn't Armie Hammer's fault. That's just the way the part was written. So I thought his part wasn't as good as it could have been. Okay, like I said, I had no problem with Johnny Depp. Like I said before, I loved Johnny Depp in this. In fact, if it wasn't for him, the movie wouldn't be half as entertaining as it was. Okay, because he was hilarious and great, and this Johnny Depp was really good in this. I loved him as Tonto. And let me just say another thing before I give you my final rating for this movie. Well, this movie not as much, but I'm going to say it, okay? And it's ironic what I'm going to talk about because in the Green Hornet movie, the one with Seth Rogen, and in this movie, okay, because Brett Reed in the Green Hornet is supposed to be a descendant of John Reed, who was the Lone Ranger. Okay, and my problem that I had with for those who haven't seen the TV show The Green Hornet, that was a kick-ass show, and the fact that it only lasted a season is criminal, because that show was perfect, and the way they set up Green Hornet to be thought of as an outlaw, but he's really a good guy, and I understand what Seth Rogen wanted to do, but he shouldn't have cast himself. If he wanted to produce the movie, fine, but I'm sorry, there's just no way you're gonna buy. I'm buying Seth Rogen as Brett Reed, not ever. Okay, I'm sorry. That was dumb. Well, I guess he produced it, so I guess he could cast himself if he wanted to. But that was dumb, and that's one of the reasons the movie bombed. Because nobody's gonna take Seth Rogen seriously as the Green Hornet. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. I don't care how good he acted. He's just not Brett Reed. Okay, the person I thought would have been a perfect Brett Reed would have been a younger, maybe Alec Baldwin, because him you could buy, because you need somebody young, handsome, and that was a playboy who became the Green Hornet. So and you buy him, you could buy him as a newspaper publisher. You could buy him a lot more. You could just buy him better. And that was ruined this. And then this one, again, and maybe that's how Hollywood. There's no way in the world I would green light Green Hornet with Seth Rogen as the Green Hornet. That is now in this movie. Now a lot of people had a problem, because Johnny Depp is, let's say, Johnny Depp is more famous than Armie Hammer and the Lone Ranger, and I don't think that would have hurt this movie. I don't think if his character, if Armie Hammer's character would have been written better, I think, even though Johnny Depp is more famous, I think I probably would have loved this movie a little bit more. Okay, and then just write his character such a wuss. Okay, and if they actually told it, I mean, they told this movie actually basically from Tonto's perspective, and I would have liked it if they would have told it from the actual Lone Ranger's perspective. And like I said, the movie wouldn't be half as entertaining without Johnny Depp in it. But that's my criticism of this movie, that I would have loved to have been told through Armie Hammer's perspective or the Lone Ranger's perspective. I think that would have worked better, to me. Even though, like I said, I enjoyed it, especially for Johnny Depp. I thought he was great as Tonto. And like I said, and maybe they'll get it right one day. Like I said, a nice, serious Lone Ranger movie. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, westerns are dead," but I had no problem with. I love westerns. Okay? I love old westerns. I love new westerns if they're done right. Okay, but that's my problem basically with the Lone Ranger. I just thought, them telling it basically through Tonto's eyes, and kind of writing the Lone Ranger character as too much of a wuss through the majority of the movie. I didn't like that. But the movie was entertaining, like I said. The length of it didn't bother me, like I said. And that, like I said, was mostly because of Johnny Depp as Tonto. He was funny, and he made the movie exciting and stuff. And like I said, Armie Hammer, like I said, he did good with what he had. You can tell he's a decent actor. But I just would have liked it if they would have actually told it through his perspective and had him make that transition over to the Lone Ranger character maybe earlier, okay, than they actually had him, okay. And so I'm gonna give this movie a 7 out of 10. Okay, I thought if maybe, like I said, they'd done the things that I talked about earlier before, and maybe told it through the Lone Ranger's eyes. Okay, maybe, and beefed up his part more. This movie definitely could have got an 8, I think, out of me. But like I said, Johnny Depp made it entertaining. Okay, and it made it move. And like I said, Wayne Fichter was good. Tom Wilkinson was good. And I would definitely give this movie a 7 out of 10. Okay, and that's going to be my rating for this, a 7 out of 10. And sorry for the rambling in this. But yeah, like I said, Johnny Depp made the movie, and I know that they kind of, like I said, I love the set pieces when they were doing the great stunt work and stuff, and I love the scene towards the climax of the movie. I thought that was great, the way they shot it and the way it played out. I thought that was great. And like I said, Armie Hammer could be a leading man, no problem. I have no problem with him. I just hate the way his character was written in this movie. Like I said, too much of a wuss through most of the movie. Okay, and definitely JW Universe, if you're watching this, okay, I think he's 6'5", Armie Hammer. Okay, so I don't know how he's going to become if they pick him to be Batman, because I don't want Batman to be taller than Superman. And I think it's kind of, so maybe they have to get somebody else for Superman. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Okay, so again, 7 out of 10. I think the best parts of this movie are the set pieces, the action sequences, and also I think Johnny Depp made this movie. If it wasn't for him, this movie wouldn't be half as interesting as it was. Okay, so 7 out of 10. Let me know what you think. Feel free to leave your comments down below. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.